Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you, Tonia Reeves? Good to see you this morning. It's coming into almost the last week of November. It's exciting. You're looking fantastic. The Cowgirl hat's looking great. Hello to everybody out there on our TNT community. Hello, hello, hello. If you're online, say g'day, say hi, how are you? Just drop a comment in there in the like Tash just did, where she said morning, g'day, how are you? Tash, Tonia, what's been happening in your wonderful life in the world
of crazy. It's like that wrap up time. I don't know where the days are going. I'm like, I've got emails I need to respond to. I've got messages, and I'm just in. It's like I'm already on holiday mode.
Oh,
in
wow,
amongst
that's
the
hard.
busyness. How
That's
bad is
tough,
that?
mate. That is tough, especially when you got work to do, but you're already in holiday mode. That's a bugger. How are you,
I
Bridget? How
know.
are you, Susie? Good to have you all. Who's already in holiday mode? That's a good point. Jen's on board as well. So what does that mean for you? What's that mean for you, Tonia? That's pretty hard. That's not easy. That's not an easy one to deal with, actually.
No, I just have to put on my work hat and then go, right, working. And then, I've had to really focus. I've been quite scattered, I think. And
Nice.
in that, it's been flat out. So it's not that I'm scattered doing nothing. It is really, really busy. But, I'm just I'll get back to that. So when I'm when I'm not reading, I'm in that. I'll get back to that person. I'm like 3 days later, oh my God.
Yeah, I know it's bad, and you're normally really, really good like that. You're always on top of it, and
I am.
Is it a sign of burnout, Tonia Reeves? I hate to say that. Is this where we're at end of the year?
Look, it could be, and it has been a massive year, and I think we spoke of that last week. It's really full on energetically. It's been really full on, and not just for me, but for many. And I mean, I'm lucky that I'm actually going on holidays from about the 5th of December. So I'm like, I will have that time off, but it's almost like I'm already there.
Yep, which is quite hilarious. It's quite a funny thing to be doing. Good on you, though. How's everybody else out there? We've got a few of us on board, and I'm just curious, how is everybody's energy at the moment? What's their vibe at, et cetera, all those other beautiful things. Where are we at? Tash
About
had
you,
a really
Tony?
nice.
You guys will be flat out ready for when do you go away?
We're till nearly at Christmas, 21st, so we've still got a fair bit to go before we can do anything. But Tash says here, she goes, I'm well. I spent the last hour with my youngest yesterday. It was a great feeling. Oh, that would have been nice, Tash. That would have been really, really nice. That would have been so cool. Because just remind me, Tash, how old's your youngest one there? It would be nice. Geordie James is on board as well.
Hey,
She's
Geordie.
doing well.
Yeah, Geordie and I've got to catch over, and I'm like, oh my God, it's just crazy. Jen was saying, from what she listened to today, planets are in retrograde and now swung back around. That's interesting. So energetically, we've had a bit of a.
Yeah. Do you agree with that? Do you guys agree?
Yeah, I feel like things are a little bit like that. We're, been turned around a few times then. Yes, and Geordie's the same, yeah. And just crazy stuff, Geordie, don't you reckon? Like random stuff out of left of centre. Like, just, I've had just like flat out booking. Everyone wants to get in before, you're on holiday. So of course that adds to it. But just nuts. Yeah, I'm with Geordie on that one. It's nuts at the moment.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And you even got I like Jen's one. Jen, my words in my mouth are not connecting the last few days. Yeah, I think we can all feel you on that one, Jen. That's a nice way of putting it. Only if we had a word for that, or one can condense that one. It is.
And
Margaret,
I
how
love
are you? Good to
Bridget's
have you on
feel too. Like it doesn't feel like Christmas because it is not warm enough. It's like we're still in winter. So has the weather got something to do with it too?
Yeah,
I think
look,
so. I think you're right, Bridget.
it is weird. I think, Bridget, you make a really good point, Bridget. I agree with you, Tonia. Yeah, it is a little bit different. The weather patterns are all over the place at the moment. And Geordie, look, Geordie, we're gonna we're gonna open up Geordie here for a second, Geordie James. Yes, this week's been nuts. So tell us about being nuts, Geordie, because I think all of us are going, and I think somebody needs to go out there and be the brave soul and say, well, this is why it was nuts. I mean, like Jen's come in and says just all over the place. feeling a bit low today. Nice to see some of your faces. Yeah, low energy. I'm with you on Geordie. On with that, Geordie. I think I don't know if we're just tired, Geordie, or what it is.
Yeah.
I feel like the energy is a little bit flat this week as well. There's been a lot of. It's almost Geordie. Correct me if I'm wrong, and Tonia as well. I feel like there's been a big push up until whatever it was, and then this week's just like, oh my god, I feel a little bit spent. That a little bit low in energy. Is that where you're going with Geordie? Is that the build up for you? I'm just intrigued if that's where it's at.
It's kind of like the calm before the storm, I think, a little bit too, isn't it? This, it's November's that kind of bump before December goes bonkers, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And Geordie's got here. She's tired and she's not feeling like she's in the groove, and that's an interesting one where you just don't feel like you've got your mojo happening.
I must admit, I'm not organised. Like, we've got our family Christmas not this weekend, the weekend after. Now, I usually
that's
have.
right. The big hoo-ha. You've got a big hoo-ha.
Yeah,
of a
I
family
usually have
gathering,
things, like pretty much sorted. I haven't. I'm like, oh, I better go shopping.
Look, it's funny you say that, Tom. I think it's a little bit of that for everybody. It's sort of like a real, it's a very much of a last minute thing. It's nothing that it's happening in our family as well. Geordie, I feel you. I think everybody's the same. I like what Susie put up here, Susie Williams. I keep looking for my internal sunshine. I think it's been clouded out as well. Yeah, look, Susie, nice way of putting that. Yeah, which is really, and it is. I think what a few people, even Bridget and that, are saying, it's a little bit with the weather being all over the place where it doesn't feel like summer at all. I mean, like first day yesterday, ladies and gents, in good old Sydney town, we went down to Bronte Beach, and I went there for a midday swim, and it was mostly the first day that I thought like, oh, this feels like summer finally. Like we haven't had that feeling yet, and we go down a fair bit. So it's interesting what you guys are saying. And I think I like what Geordie says, and I just like that not feeling in the groove. And Tonia, you're saying a little bit of that as well, like not being organised for Christmas and not getting back to your emails as quick as you can, like not being in that groove. It is. I'm the same. I'm no different to you guys. So it's something that maybe we can have a little bit of a, who feels like they're in the groove, get us out of the groove. Susie sounds like she's the same as well, and same with Jen. So Jen, let's go break down your new moon last week tonight, ? Full moon next week. So are you asking if it's a new moon last week? Because that always brings around change or something like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just looking before for my book. I've got my book normally where I can reach it, but of course it's not here. I must have pulled it out to look at it. But yeah, if someone can fill us in, where are we at? I haven't actually had a look. So let's see. Jen was saying something about, is it a new moon maybe? Was that one?
No, she's asking a question.
Okay.
Was it a new moon? Like she goes, new moon last night? ? Tonight?
Tonight, yeah. So we're thinking a new moon. Okay, here we go. Margaret's put in there. Gemini full moon next week. Oh, Gemini. Oh, God.
Oh, explain to me, Margaret and Tonia, and everybody else that is what's that mean to the normal folk here in the world? that wouldn't really be quite well
versed. Their version of this, because we'll all have a different version. Gemini is, to me, Gemini crazy. Like, I love Gemini. I connect really well with Gemini people, but you got to look at, they're the twins, so it's like two facets.
Yeah.
And so that can be confliction as well, I find. To actually have that energy of it's a bit of a crazy, and it's a bit of a mind sign as well. So it's not, it wouldn't be unusual that we're feeling a bit mentally fatigued.
Yep.
A bit all over the place. They're very all over the place. Yeah, all over the place.
Which is a great thing. Ton, just hold up the fort for a second. I'm going to go close the door. just
I can do that.
I'll be back.
Hey, Leslie from shining brightly from down under Tassie. Yay, my birth state. Hey, Leslie. Cowgirls down under. Yippee. I love it. Yeah, thanks, Margaret. So Gemini full moon next week. Okay. Yeah, Gemini equals duality. Gemini, the sign of communication. Yeah, indecision and indecision. I like Anita. That's my version as well. Indecision and indecision.
Yep. I like that.
So
Tash had a good
it
win
could be
yesterday.
shadow work as well coming into this, the light and the dark. When you've got the sign of, the twin energy, it's like there could be a how can you put it, like that, it's about balancing things. So maybe for those of us that aren't feeling in balance, we're leading up to either some breakthroughs or revelations next week. That could be part of
Ooh,
this as well.
breakthroughs. Well, look at Leslie here. I know I've jumped in quite late. Leslie, it says it in her name. She's a G win. She's always a winner, that one, Leslie. She's right in the groove. Shining brightly from down under Tassie. We are cowgirls down under. Yippee. Joy to the world. Yeah, I like the vibe. Thanks for that, Leslie. Keep that coming, because that's what we need. We need a dose of Leslie. What she's got is the perfect antidote to what we're going through. So thank you for sharing that, Leslie. That's pretty cool. What else we got?
Yeah,
Susan.
Vichka's saying aim high to put out new intentions for Sagittarius. So is the Sagittarius new moon right now? And then next week, usually there's a couple of weeks in between a new moon and a full moon, though. So where are we exactly? I'm confused.
I know, but I like what Avichka says, though. She goes, aim high, put out new intentions. So I think that's pretty easy to do, Avichka. I think that's pretty good. It's a good time to get, I suppose, for those that aren't in the groove, is the way to get into the groove is just think of what you want. Geordie's out of here. Thanks for jumping on board, Geordie. Always good to have you on board and do that. But yeah, so it is an interesting one. Interesting, I'm going to say.
Okay, so Sag new moon. So is that tonight, everybody? Can we confirm, Avichka? It would have to be. It'd have to be. Isn't it bad? Like, I normally have my book here to go flip. It's interesting. Gemini full moon is the 8th of December. Oh, okay. All right. So we have got a bit of time. So if we focus the new moon on Sagittarius, which is fun. Saggies are fun. They're the party animals. Yeah.
Oh, are they? I didn't know that. Tell me more about Sagittarius. They sound interesting.
Oh, they're fun. You want them at a party? Fire sign.
Okay.
Saggy. The eternal child. I love Sagittarians. Yeah, they're great fun. And yeah, they're usually life of the party. Saggies. They don't take anything too seriously. Very childlike usually, and keep that throughout their life. They've always got that connection. Ordinarily, that's depending on, I suppose, how much Saggy is in that person. But yeah, they're great.
How much Saggy is in that person? It's like
great. Any Sagittarians on here? They'd be all running around. They wouldn't be able to sit still for an hour to watch this, I don't think.
I'll just explain it now, because if I see somebody who's really going off the charts at a Sagittarius, I mean, at a party, you go, they're that one that tipped over way too much on the Sagittarius side.
Margaret's got it.
Dancing on the table. That's pretty much it.
Love it. Yeah, they're very much a free spirit. So Margaret's shared here, time to look back, reflect, look forward, and choose how you move forward. So when you look at it, we're coming towards the end of the year. So it is about, like, besides the fact that we might be feeling a bit tired and worn down, we still want to look at, what's sitting with us coming into the new year, and just starting to be aware of what, I suppose, or have a bit of a what is it, like a look at where you're at and where you're going and what feels right.
Yep. It's not, and it's a hard thing to do when you're tired. That's the thing. It's like, how do you get that where you go? Because the only focus you could be having is, I don't want to be tired anymore, and then nothing really happens from that. But it's sort of like pushing through that. It's not an easy one. So if anybody's got any good little tips, that would be super cool. I like Margaret's here. She goes, you know what? Never argue with a Sagittarius. Once they've made up their mind, they're never wrong, apparently. Margaret, are you a Sagittarius? Are you?
I actually don't know many Saggies, but yeah, they're always fun. The ones that I have met, can't say I've got any close to me, to be honest. But yeah, they're the ones you got to invite to the party regardless.
Yep, absolutely.
So Susie's putting here the Gemini moon, so that'll be beginning of December. Yeah, not knowing whether Arthur or Martha, perhaps that's the reason. Don't know. I don't recognize myself anymore. My neighbor is a Sag. She's full of life, joy, and ignorant bliss. I love it.
That's brilliant.
So that's for next month. But let's go back to, if we're going to focus on Saggy being a new moon, and Avitch has always got some great shares, along with many others.
Yep.
Sagittarius is the archer, so focus and point yourself or aim your life in the direction that you want. So yeah, that is true. Sagittarius is the archer. You know, that got the bow and arrow like ready to strike. So this might be a great time. And today, maybe all of those of you that are watching, it's about writing down and being a bit clear on directions for next year. It doesn't mean you have to outline. It just might be a little list of where you see yourself next year.
Yep. I think that's a great idea. It's always a healthy thing to do, isn't it? Because you find yourself, Tonia, it just moves you in the right direction in life instead of like sitting in the negative or whatever it may be. And at least if you've got something to focus on and it's positive, then you'll move towards it. You know, what do they say? Emotion equals motion.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I've started to, and it's something that we can all think about if anyone else wants to jump on board. I like to utilize a word for the year for me. You know, like for me, it's fun going in and going, okay, what word resonates for the coming year? And like for me this year, it was about bliss. And I just said, was, you know, it came to me early on. It's like, if it's not fun, I'm not doing it. So everything I said yes to, I had a ball with this year. And I have to say, the opportunities were absolutely crazy this year. And that wasn't through writing down that I wanted to do this or be this, or, you know, necessarily having set goals. I just, you know, was open to what came along, and and just followed that whole, you know, let's follow joy. And if it brings me joy, I'm doing it. If not, you know, I was happy to say no to things. So
that's pretty powerful, Tom. That's really powerful. I like that one.
I think it's a good one to, you know, usually you sort of come up with that word by January. So it's a good one to sort of let it marinate a bit, you know, have a think about what, you know, if it's something that for any of you that might want to do that, just start to think about what you're guided to have as your word for next year. And it's just a bit of fun. You can write it down and then forget about it, but then you can look back and go, you know, how did that year shape up for me with that?
Yep. I like that a lot. No, that sounds really...
Yes, she does this empowerment for 2023. Love it.
Okay, that's nice. That's pretty good. I like what Leslie's got here. I'm a Virgo, 9th of the 9th, 53, a whole heap of fun. I did a life of impossibility to find possible. Tragic existence to find magic, and disorder to find order. Now into the 7th year, and reinvention time is here for me. On the path of life I deliberately choose. Yippee. That's pretty... Look, so you're telling me, Leslie, you're 70 years old, in your prime, and I like how you've gone you know, I found the magic in the disorder to find order. And it's so true though, isn't it, Tonia? Like, Leslie, you put it really, really well. I think you've got to get into the chaos and the disorder to find some sort of order, to find out there is no order, so to get comfortable with the disorder, and then that's just the flow of life, which is quite nice. And I like how you've got... Yeah, it's pretty inspirational. It's you're on the life I deliberately choose. You be. That is. Thank you for that share, Leslie. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is. I love it. I love it, Leslie. And 70. How inspirational are you? That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
And I think, you know, and that's what I think sometimes when we're feeling exactly like we've spoken of, Tony, is, you know, it's someone like Leslie that comes in and goes, hey, cop this. This is my you know, reality. And that's what then makes us, it's like brings us joy. Suddenly our energy's gone, whoa, check this out. Leslie's 70, and mate, she's nailing it, and not nailing it as in everything's perfect. She's kind of explained there where she's had to go through things to get where she is, but she's really able to reflect so well on those experiences, and that's inspirational, Leslie. Well done.
Yeah, I think Leslie's got a real who gives a shit sort of attitude towards life, but in a positive way, which I really like. I really like where she's coming from. It's so like, I try to do things the right way, and it was just useless. Now I'm just doing it my way. Actually, I had a really interesting chat with a guy the other day, and he's 55, divorced, 3 kids, and whatnot. And he talked about like with the group that we hang out with, the bunch of guys that we train with on a Wednesday morning, was what happens is with the guys from W now is you go training in the morning on Wednesday mornings, you go for a training session, you go for a swim, and then a coffee after. And just before you go for a swim, we have this thing called the Circle of Trust. And what it is, it's a bunch of guys that stand around in a circle. And if you just feel compelled to go up and say something to a bunch of guys with just saying, I might be going through a divorce, or I just feel like shit, or whatever it may be, or I don't understand my kids anymore, or what the group's done for you. But I remember Rupert came up to me yesterday and said his whole thing around judgment and how it's impacted him all his life. How he'll be a Sagittarius. He's life of the party. He's just an absolute wonderful human being. He's in the arts, so he does a lot of theatre and production around there. So he's quite well suited. But he went out dancing with his daughter on the dance floor when she graduated not long ago. And he's just a clown. And the wife pulled him over. The ex-wife says, "You're such an embarrassment to the whole family. What do you do this for, Rara? Look what you've done to your daughter," and all this kind of stuff. And it was this judgment that he came to realize how much it impacted him. And then he went up to his daughter, goes, "Did I embarrass you?" And the daughter goes, "No, my friends love you, and I love you that you're always a dick, and you come out on the dance floor, you make us laugh and everything like that," because he does it in such a cool way. But the thing that really resonated there was, and it's coming back to what Leslie's saying is, you get into the disorder, or you get into the stuff that really worries you, and you try to fix it, and you try to, and for him, it was letting go of saying, people are going to judge me and I don't give a shit. I'm trying to be a good person, but that's held him back a lot as well. And it sounds like Leslie's gone through a lot of that kind of, not judgment, it could be whatever you've gone through, Leslie, in your life. Do you know what I mean? Where you've just sort of not allowed it to control you anymore. You've just been you and created your own path going down that way. So I think it's pretty powerful in that sense. And it feels like, that's where my friend Rupert has just had that light bulb moment. And I'm excited because he's on the path of Leslie going, "Yep, cool, I got it." So I'll be sharing your story, Leslie, with Rupert, if that's all right with you. Because only everybody on Facebook, whoever listens to Facebook, knows about it. So it's a global audience. So, Leslie, I hope that one was a confidential. Bit late on that one.
No, it's good. And that's it. And it's, it is about, it's about, I suppose sometimes for us to grow, it's about being uncomfortable, isn't it? And, I think we've often spoken about this on our feed is sometimes we've got to get out of that comfort zone to really push ourselves into, whether it's a different reality or, change. I think Anita's popped in here something about letting go of the old her, which I thought was really powerful too. Anita, I think I have let go of the old me and she is a stranger, and welcome to the new, real and true me.
Yeah, that's nice, Anita. That's pretty powerful. Yeah, Anita, it's funny you say that. Like, I've even got a friend of mine, a good friend, who's got Tonia like this. She's got a tattoo on her wrist, and it's 3.0, so it's version 3.0 of herself, Anita. So, do you know what I mean? Like, she's done the same as you, as cut it, and then she actually got the
version 3.
Yeah, version 3.0. That's where she's at. So, Anita, you can have fun with it too, but I like it. I like it that you've got this thing where you feel like you're you again. Such a powerful place to feel like you, or like me again. It's such a nice feeling. I'll tell you what, Leslie, we'll be coming to your workshop. How you do it.
And I think for many, this year's about shedding. It has been about doing a lot of inner work and a lot of healing. So, and I think for many, there's been the realization that if we don't let go of the old, we can't sort of be open to the new. And this time of year is really where we kind of energetically get that, it's time to own what we need to let go of. And that might be having to do some inner work to let go of it. But we really need to connect in with that, ready for, Mark 2, like you say, or second chapter, Tony, or, moving on to where we, ultimately are going to be.
Yes. Yep. 100%. Totally agree with that. Susie goes, I've noticed a few of my Sagittarius friends were able to cut cords cleanly. I was curious. So I asked my Sag friend, she said she exits relationships simply and quickly. She describes as turning around, pointing her arrow in a different direction and heading that way. Pretty good skill to do if you can do it. Very callous, very, very painful if you're the person on the other side, though, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not easy for all, some people do it way better than others.
Oh, 100%, 100%. It's a bit of a skill set that I wish some of us could take on board and just cut our cords and go, yep, see you later, bye, and not hot onto it. That's a nice share. I like that one, Susie. At being her friend, I wonder.
I'm going to Susie's. I love one of her favourite things in Alice in Wonderland, where the impossible is possible. Or I'm possible.
Yep. It's also Adidas' slogan. Well done, Susie.
I like Jen's too. I think I'm on life 3 in this life and chapter 10.
Yeah.
I think we can all relate to that, Jen. I love it. And Anita's got a good share here. She is just saying, yeah, you nailed it, Tony. And I am him in a female form. My family don't understand my quirkiness, and now I don't give a shit. I'll no longer be squished into someone else's reality. Well done, Anita. And that's a big call when it's family, because it's not easy, but well done for having that realization and letting yourself off the hook. I think there's really a lot to be said about that. A lot of people this year letting themselves off the hook and not feeling like we need to be pressured into maybe that old paradigm that we've grown up with. Hey, Nick's on board too. G'day. Nick's always got awesome stuff to share. And Tony Ann. Yay. Okay, Tony Ann, our numbers guru is here. Like, we've got to share this one. You got to read this one out, Tone?
Absolutely. Hi, guys. Hi, how are you? Next year's numbers will bring more intensity for self-focus and self-growth. This year's influence is pushing us with external drama, so we find our center to focus on self next year. That is pretty good.
Love it. Intensity for self-focus and self-growth. So, okay, so we've got another year of it, Tonia. God, I thought I'd done it all this year.
I know, but look, there's been a lot of that. Like, why so much now, Tony? And what's going on? Why the big drive on? I think ever since COVID, there's been this big focus on self-focus and self-growth. It's the industries that are taking off at the moment are those two, really. Why now? What's happening, Tony Ann, for us to have this big focus? Before it used to be a bigger focus on community and others and contribution and things like that. So yeah, I'd be interested to see what the justification is, or what's the reasoning behind it.
It's in the numbers, Tony. That's what Tony Ann's sharing, is that numbers are what showcase us that energy. But yeah, really interesting though. But you look at it, we can't be of service to others if we don't do the work for ourselves, can we? Realistically.
Absolutely.
And we are all a work in progress. Like, I'm hoping that by the time I get to Leslie's age, I might have it a little bit more down pat.
Yeah.
We're a work in progress, though, aren't we? I think that's our reality. Vitch just popped in here. 2022 theme is change, 2 energies, connections and balance in life, work, relationships, health, all of health, all of it. If anything doesn't serve your most highest self, it's probably rocked you this year. Hope the ride has been fun and not too bumpy.
It's always bumpy.
It's an understatement. I like Margaret.
Absolutely.
Nuts. I agree. Bumpy ride, Margaret, this year. And when I say that, like, I can't even think of anything specific, but it's just like, it has sort of been like peaks and troughs a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Look, I can't remember life ever not being bumpy. Do you know what I mean? It just, you'd be going there, goes, where are the bumps? I mean, like, you'd be looking for them, absolutely. I was just looking at something else before. Leslie's one here, I just wouldn't die, and I really don't like to waste. So get out of bed and starting again, cell by cell, organ by organ, and rebuilding from the ground up, day by day, completing the paradigm shift. I am ready, and it's time for the new me, not knowing by letting life unfold from inside out. Wow, that's I really like how, Leslie, you've broken this down beautifully from a microscopic level, from a really, it's the one percenters that make a difference. And that's just it. You know what? If you had to write a strategy for somebody on how to shift a state, a mood or something like that, you've just nailed it there in one paragraph, Leslie. That's absolutely great, isn't it? I mean, I can take something away from that. I don't know about you, Tonia. That's, for me, that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I love it. And, it's coming together as a group, even just us here on the Thursday, like as a collective, raising our vibration by all connecting is such a powerful thing to do. And it's great to have your insights, Leslie, along with many other great insights. Tash has put here 2022 has been a roller coaster for her. Yes. So
Yep.
there, and it is interesting. And let's see, we've got Tony Ann's got another one. Interesting, the numbers pull us all together and the government or the COVID influence is pulling us apart, creating separations. Interesting dichotomy, and maybe that's why it's so uncomfortable and we're challenging outside and going within. Yeah, because ultimately our external creates influences significantly our internal, but having to actually go within, which I agree, Tony, and I think for many of us, we've had to go within this year and really go, what feels right for me, because there's been so much confliction. You're reading or you're constantly hearing about different dialogues and who's for this or against it and who's voting for who or whatever, and it's very much people have had to just sit and go, what feels right for me, without necessarily being pulled into anyone else's agenda. And I think that's been a good thing.
Yeah, it is. I like how, Tony Ann, I like how you've actually dissected this quite well. Yeah, it's pulling us, and the government's or COVID is pulling apart. Look, that's a whole different topic of a conversation. I understand where you're coming from, Tony, and I actually agree with. We can see that globally how we're doing that. Where, the question is, what are we going to follow? Well, who do we listen to now? Do we listen to our internal dialogue, or do we go to what the government's saying? And we could go down a whole path of what's happened to trust within government through the whole COVID thing, and it's making us go internally because trust has been a little bit tarnished, can we say, with certain things that we've been told and certain things that have happened. And it goes on and on without getting political. But yeah, it's an interesting one from a spiritual and a self-development point of view of the influences that are making us go internal. I like that, Tony Ann. Thank you. What else have you got up here?
Danielle's popping in while she's at work, about to facilitate my playgroup. Lucky I have fun elements in my job, really struggling at the moment. Danielle, we've just been all talking about that. So we're right on board with you. There has been that bit of a struggle at the moment. We're feeling a bit like we want to go into hibernation sleep mode and we can't.
Yep, absolutely.
So we're here to support you, and have a listen back to the beginning if you want a bit more inspiration. And we've got lovely Leslie and Tony Ann and Avichka all giving us some inspiration on the feed today, and Anita and Susie and Nick. We'll have to share Nick's as well.
Yeah, 100%. Danielle, I really feel for you because, we are going through all this at the same time. So you're most probably just tired as well, which is really, really, really tough. But your play group, I think your play group's going to be fun. You'll draw energy off that's for sure. And yeah, just keep the fun going. Sometimes, you know what, Danielle, I think, and Tonia, and for the rest of us that know that have to facilitate different groups, and that sometimes you can, when you're feeling down and out, instead of you being the source of energy, allow them to be the source of energy, and you can draw off that. In the way I like to say it is, allow them to do the heavy lifting, which means allow them to entertain themselves and do whatever, and you just facilitate a little bit more laid back, and then see how that goes. I know you most probably cringing, shit, how do I do that? But you'll work it out.
I'll just put in Jen. Jen went to see Peter Williams. Peter is amazing. I love Peter. I hold him up here as far as mediums go. He's so down to earth and such a talented soul. He's incredible. So Jen's put in here that she went and saw Peter and he wrote a message on the cover of his book, "Learning never stops. It's there for you and the next chapter." And
Nice.
that for Jen is it's so powerful, Jen, so significant. I'm always saying we're a work in progress, forever learning. Yes.
Yeah. Well, so what does
Love it.
Peter Williams do? I'm intrigued.
He's a medium, so he does shows throughout
Nice.
Australia, showcasing his mediumship, and he's such a cool dude. Like
Yeah, nice.
and his evidence is amazing. He's just incredible at what he does, and he's just so down to earth with it, and has a lot of fun. I haven't met him in person yet. We've kind of interacted on each other's pages, and I love his energy. I know that we'd get on great, but at some point I'm sure I'll be able to catch up with him. But yeah, he's just incredible at what he does. He really is.
Oh, nice.
No, he's brilliant. Let's see. Let's share Nick's. Nick's got a great share here. So you've had a lot happening, Nick. Like I know you were traveling there for a bit, so I was loving watching you on the road. So Nick's share is the last 4 weeks I've had a urine infection and a tooth pulled out, but it's been amazing as I feel more grounded, as I've just had to step away from everyone and allow myself to heal and know that all I can do is sit with myself and allow everything to pass, knowing my body has been cleansing, drinking more water. I think that's meant to be massage, going back to what makes you happy. For me, doing markets and expos and having fun. I'm in the process of going back to live with Dad, but knowing I'm in a better headspace. So that's pretty cool, Nick. Like that's a massive stuff happening, along with your expos and sharing your gifts. But allowing time to heal. How often do we forget that? We get crook and we just soldier on.
Yep. Yeah, it's the worst thing you can do. And Nick's got it down pat here, mate. I'm sorry to hear that you've gone through it. That sounds like you've got urine infection, getting your tooth pulled out, which is all full on. But allowing yourself to heal, you've got to be happy with that. It's not an easy thing to do, as you said, Tonia. It's something where you try to push through and you persevere and you do all this stuff. And you're like, what for? What am I doing? Why am I doing all this for?
Yeah. Absolutely. And Tony Ann's put in here 1s and 9s.
Yeah. I was trying to make sense of that.
Yeah. Okay. So Tony Ann's talking about the numbers. So the 1 and the 9s are me and others. 2 are us, you and me. And since 2000, our drive is different. So if you look at, 2000, then you've got 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, and what we're up to 2022. And when you look at the 2s are us. So we've got 222 when you look at 2022. Correct. So that'll change. So next year, I kept going, next year's a 5-year. I don't know, I missed one of the 2s because it's like we're 2023, 7-year next year. When you look at the year, that's not counting your individual numbers as well. So that's really interesting. Again, so what Tony Ann's sharing, we're shifting. So as those numbers change, the energy and everything else coming along with it will be moving.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. That's very, very interesting. Thanks for that. I'm pretty sure everybody else got something out of that as well. That's really cool to know. That is, I just find it really fascinating what Tony Ann does.
Numbers are great, aren't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, Anita, I love Anita's share too. Never forget, you're not alone, even though it feels like you are.
Yep.
Thanks, Anita. That's what this community is all about. So I have to share that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like it. I like it a lot. Leslie's got another good gem here. Breath connects with the source and is effortless, easiest way. It's the first thing we do when we arrive on earth. It's the last thing we do before we leave. Conscious breath taps into the intuition and washes away fear, energy, and the next step, the next move will be perfect for you. Rest, breathe. It's pretty good. It's not bad advice, actually. It's there's a lot to be said about the power of breathing. We're getting into that a little bit more these days, aren't we? Like the taking that breath in and chilling out for a second, holding the breath, and going into more, I suppose, meditative practices with breath work. So I like that. It's a good little reminder, Leslie. I think we need to chill out every now and then and just breathe. As simple as it gets. I really like that.
Yeah, and it's Savitchka's put Tony, wow. I have to bring up the ones that say Tony, wow.
Yeah, I
Tony,
know.
I love what you said. You're getting a lot today, Tony. I'm just like you're in the zone.
I know it's a bit scary, guys.
No pressure.
Normally it's all
Tony,
you
wow, what a
guys.
fantastic advice. Oh, I love reading that out.
Yeah,
Sometimes you just need to rest and let others' energy fill and lift you up rather than doing the heavy lifting.
yep,
That's she's actually Avichka, you must be, your psychic side's coming out. That they're like Tony's words. He loves
yep.
heavy lifting.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes you gotta let others people do the heavy lifting. I know that's no, but it's true though, yeah. And it's one of those ones where you don't want to always do it, but every now and then just realize that other people can take the load, and do some of it.
And it's a hard one to do, isn't it? I think,
Hmm.
for a lot of us, it's instilled that you've got to be strong and support yourself. And then we kind of, are brought up with that, oh, what will people think if I share too much or, but I think we're smashing through that now. And I really do
Yep,
think we're starting to really see the reality, which is, people, everyone's got their own stuff. There's no one that's perfect. So you can share whatever. And if
yep,
anything, when you're sharing with people, even people you don't know really well, you've opened the door for them to share even more.
yep, yep. Absolutely. Now you got
Great share
Susie's
from
one up here.
Susie here. Yeah, more physical light is being shone on the planet. Hard to see under the dark clouds right now. Absolutely. With more light, the shadow is clearer. So our monsters' shadow sides are more visible. This helps us to explore ourselves further, new perceptions, new understandings, new challenges, new truths. More people are seeing more of themselves. It's a dawning of the age of Aquarius. So
Ooh,
there's a lot of power in that, isn't it? A lot of power. And I feel like we'll be birthing there's a lot of new stuff ready for next year. And I know that and I've spoken before on here that I've felt that like just shifting, changing things up a little bit.
yep, yeah, 100%. You've said that before, so it's quite nice that Susie jumps on board and says that. It's a nice way of putting it, actually. Um, let's have a look. There was somewhere. No, sorry, just ignore me.
That's okay.
I'm
And
just
Nick's put
reading.
helping ourselves first, then helping. I think, Nick, that's a great reminder. We have to
Mm,
remember that we can be distracted by going to help everyone else, and we feel great when we help others. And sometimes we use that as a distraction to not do the work on ourselves. And I think for many of us, we could relate to that at some point in life, focusing so much on everyone else. And
mm.
actually, that allows us not to have to look at what's going on here.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, Vichka says it well. Sometimes your body will help you rest, even though you might get sick. It's a way of resetting and helping you. Yeah, I agree with that, Vichka. I think it's. I don't know about you guys. Do you agree with that, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. The body. I remember when I had a reading with Scott Alexander King, who's also my publisher, and one of the really powerful things that he said, the body never lies. And we were
Hmm.
talking about, going back and doing, healing work on yourself. And sometimes for many of us, we don't remember, it's hard to go back to past, or if there's been trauma, or if there's been things that have happened.
Mm.
And just the way he said that was like the body doesn't lie. So when we have things happen, and that might be a bit like Nick, the temporary things, but it's kind of giving us those signs to then look a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, he's a pretty clever man. That one. He comes up with some good ones,
Absolutely.
Scott. He really does. Um,
Anita's put a lovely share too. I feel like
I
I'm
was just reading that.
so at home with you both and this community of peeps. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks, Anita. Thank you. It's people like yourself that share, that really help make our community what it is. So we value you.
Yep.
Absolutely. And just Jen's reiterated that we attract our tribe with no judgment. And
Yep.
that's what I have been really working on, is not to have, like, not judging things. And it's not about judging people even. It's about judging ourselves, or going,
Yep.
oh, I look terrible in that, or oh, that photo's, it's like, stop, just stop. Stop with the
Yeah.
judgment.
Wow. Yeah, the judgment
Because
one's a
it
big one.
becomes a default thing. You don't even realize you're doing it.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Look, I think. Look. And as you're saying, you know what most probably annoys you though, Tonya? Are you quite accepting of others, regardless of
Yeah.
looks and all that kind of stuff? Like, and do you find that you go, I just wish everybody was like me a little bit, where you go, they're not so judgy, they're not so, do you know what I mean?
I think sometimes too, we get hard on ourselves and go, oh, I'm judging. But sometimes it's just been a default setting. Like it's something you've grown up with. You might have had parents that were like that. So then you're like that. And, I think we sometimes get caught up in, oh, that's terrible that I come from that place of judging. But if we look at the big picture and go, become aware of it. And then we start to, the less we judge others, the less we get judged. And it's a powerful tool to play around with, but it's pretty incredible to start to go, you know what? And I think also, it's a little bit like the backstory. When you understand, somebody might be rude and have a terrible, terrible attitude. And then you find out that they've lost their whole family in an accident, or, that they've lived with for a few years. And it starts to then change the way you look at the way that they behave. And I always say there's, for most part of it, there's a backstory to people and why they act like they do.
Yeah, that is so true. It really is.
We're getting heaps of comments. Tags, he's put the crow. Oh, I love the crow.
What does the crow mean? What's the crow
Oh,
symbolize?
crow's mystical. Like everyone has, there'll be so many versions of. So Tegs put in here, the crow's been around a lot lately. We need the light and dark. So the crow's kind of considered the dark. It's considered mysterious, considered the shadow, but also the spirit is often, it's a very, crows are considered very mystical and spiritual. And you know that you'll see the pictures of the witches and they'll have the crow might be sitting on a shoulder, or there's often a crow around, because they're fascinating. And I know there's a few here that are great with animals, be able to delve a bit deeper. Nick will be able to.
Nick's onto that. Yeah, Nick, start typing if you haven't already started typing.
Yes, because Nick can say it better than me. Like, so he can just. I'm not speaking the right words.
No. I think, but you're right.
It better than me. I'm like Jen today. Jen, I'm feeling that I can't talk or it's not coming out. I do love the crow energy though. The crow is great.
Okay, cool. Nick, start typing if you don't mind, sir. If you could give us a little bit of the crow wisdom that you have. Kim, I'm going to do a numerology course next weekend. Hey, congratulations. That's really cool. You should get in touch with Tony Ann on that kind of stuff. I don't know why, but that's what she does. She's pretty cool with it. Numbers have always been my thing. Isn't that interesting, Kim? My word for 2022 is blur, and 2023 it will be tomorrow. All right.
I love it.
That's all right, Kim. Let me know when you might want to have a positive 2023, maybe a winning one. It could be something like Falcon, couldn't it? Or it could be like a horse, like a Mustang. That could be a word. But Kim, you're a work in progress, and that's why we love you. Namaste. Now, let's get back to Kim. I'm excited for you. Numerology. I mean, this is something you just don't go, oh, I think I'll do a numerology course. Tonya, you know this. There's got to be, for Kim, there's got to be a drawing of some sort. She goes, she's always like numbers, and she goes, I'm really drawn to this numerology thing. So I suppose what words of wisdom can you give Kim? And Kim, just tell me what you expect to do once you've done your numerology course. Are you going to do it for yourself? Do you want to go down the path of where Tony Ann is, where she's doing it for others? Or is it just like you're curious? You go, I don't know where it's going to go, and I'll give it a crack. But yeah, back to you, Tom. What would you like? Where do you see Kim in this?
I think learning is a great thing. And, and like you said, Tony, whether you do it for yourself or for others, to actually, especially when you've had a fascination. I'm a bit of a numbers person too, Kim, so I can relate to that. I think numbers are really powerful, and that's why I love sharing Tony Ann's wisdom, because she's amazing at what she shares with the numbers and how relevant they are for all of us, in the current day. But yeah, I think any kind of knowledge is great. I think like it expands us to learn something new. Avichka's popped in here. The crow energy brings change. So that's pretty relevant with what we've been talking about, really.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm laughing at Tony Ann's like, can we talk about Christmas? Because she's feeling really Christmassy. Tony Ann, you're the only one on this feed feeling Christmassy. No, sorry, there's one other person. I'm joking, but
it's about
we
the
did
community.
start off, I'm laughing because we started off Christmas and then
yeah, just but yeah, I like the enthusiasm, anything like that. Christmas is good. But Tony Ann, we've got another 3 weeks to talk about that. But like I'm happy to sprinkle in a bit of Christmas magic all the way through, though. It's a good podcast. A good podcast that I just listened to was one of my favorite ones. If you guys haven't heard it yet, it's called Business Wars, and this one is the Christmas movie Business Wars. So it will be like Business Wars will have two rival companies like Coca-Cola versus Pepsi, and it's so beautifully done. They'll talk about where they started and how they became rivals and everything like that. So yeah, it's really cool. You'll have like Starbucks versus Dunkin' Donuts. And I didn't know Dunkin' Donuts was actually originally a coffee company, and they accidentally fell into donuts. Yeah, and that's what they got known for. And the original dude who started Dunkin' Donuts was like, no, it's all about the coffee. And people go, no, it's all about the donuts. and the world won that one. So that was cool. But it's really good. And so the one that I just watched, Tony, and you're like, it's Christmas movies. It's Hallmark versus Netflix, and I think it's HBO, about how they produce different Christmas movies and what they put into it. And they've got this a script, a standard script that works for every Christmas movie, and they go through it and everything like that. And it's quite a good listen. If you want to go into the Christmas mood, it's quite good. It'll get you, like, I can't wait to watch my first Christmas movie this year after listening to that podcast. So, Tony Ann, my gift to you. Business Wars, get into it.
Love it. Nick's put here, the void, the magic, sitting in a place from your soul, knowing that you can make whatever decision you want. The crow will come 3 times. The first 2 times gives you the opportunity to make the change, and the third time the crow will make the change for you. How interesting.
Boom. Nick.
So is it after the third crow, Nick, that you find that's when things happen, like, or the changes will be implemented? Is that part of what the information that you're sharing? It looks a little bit along that line. But yeah, I love it.
Talk about dropping the hammer on the conversation, Nick. Boom. That's a mic drop moment. That is walks off the stage and that's it. Just finishes with, second time gives you the opportunity to make the change. The third time, the crow will make the change for you. Boom, see you later, off the stage. Nick, you've just sold this gig out well. Can't wait for the next one. That was pretty powerful. I like it though. Jen says, I rarely see crows. Lately, they are everywhere. Jen, if you've seen 2, start cracking, start doing stuff, because the crow's going to change shit for you. So you've given 2 opportunities. All right, Jen, do not stuff this up. All right, I'll be watching crows very carefully from here on in. Jen, I've got you back on this, but you just got to be a little bit more, diligent, a little bit like more aware of where the crows are. So you're going to say?
We had a property that we had a little while ago had a crow's nest in it. Like the crows were nesting in, like it was a lot of bush, and it was incredible to see the nest. And my other half, of course, being the Leo that he is, was like, get the drone up. So, and we were like, do not disturb the baby. So he actually got the drone up like far enough away to not disturb them, and got photos of the babies in the nest. That was really incredible.
Yeah.
Really incredible. So yeah, Kim's crows are amazing. Love them.
Yeah, they are. They absolutely are. Just don't stuff it up, Jen. Kim's come back with numerology. She goes, she's just doing it for herself at the moment, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So that's a cool thing. It's always good. Here you go. And then Tony Ann's follow up. Would you like to Be the voice of
I
Tonia.
first learned numerology in a corporate setting in the 1990s to build the strongest teams to achieve an outcome, opening a new casino. Put followers with leaders and add someone with high inspiration and a practical person in there to get it done. Never put all the leaders together. I love that.
Yeah, it's true.
Love that, Tony Ann. Love it.
That's
Yes.
what a weird place to learn numerology, was in a corporate setting. That's quite interesting. And look at you now, like she's gone great guns. So you never know, Kim, where this is going to take you.
Tony Ann, this whole conversation, as I'm reading that, I'm like, you need to be this. You don't need to be, but a really powerful thing would be for you to advertise doing people's numbers in business. So imagine companies with a lot of staff and being able to put together what you've just shared there for their teams, and imagine how much production and how much fun would be in teams and getting things done. I think that's a whole exercise to do, to put you in front of businesses, Tony Ann. I think it'd be amazing. Like if I had my hair salon with it, when I had up to, I think at the most I probably had was 8 or 9 staff. But if I saw something like that, I'd be like, yes, I'm in.
Yep.
Come and do everyone's
Okay,
numbers.
cool. Yep.
So
Yep.
I think there's another business promotional idea, Tony Ann, for
There
the
you go,
new
Tony
year.
Ann.
Yeah.
I like it.
Love it.
It is interesting because, so it's just, it's great where your career's blossomed off to, Tony, and back from 1990s. That's a long time. It's 30 years. That's pretty cool. Jen says, funnily enough, Tony, I've made the changes now for the business to float. I'm so glad, Jen. I'm so glad. You don't want a crow coming in and changing your stuff on their terms. Like, seriously, like, hacking away on your computer, making phone calls for you. Geez. Ordering new stock in when you don't need it. You go, geez, what are you doing, Crow? Stop it. I was onto it. Like, give me a break. Well done, Jen. Get in there before the crow gets in there. Just go, okay, I've got it. Just leave it to me and then get on with it. Crows are crazy.
Absolutely. Now, going out, we're nearly at the time to wrap up, running out of time as we always do. But I just wanted to go back to Tony Ann's, let me see, numbers. I think it was one of the first comments, just as something for us to all ponder on for the next week. Next year's numbers will bring more intensity. So I think I really love this, and I love, Tony Ann, the way that you've kind of given us this insight into next year and what's to come and how we've been this year. Numbers, utilizing the numbers and sharing that next year's numbers will bring more intensity for self-focus and self-growth. And this year's influence is pushing us with external drama so we can find our center. So ideally what Tony Ann's sharing is it's important right now until the end of the year to focus on our center and focus on, going within, I suppose, for the last bit of this year as much as we can, of course, with everything else going on, ready for some more intensity for self-focus and self-growth for next year. So I think I love things like that, because for me, it's about, we come to November, we're coming to the end of the year. What can we focus on from here forward to give us a bit of a boost for the end of the year? And I think that's a great one. What do you think, Tony?
Yeah, I do. I think anything that focuses for next year and gets us moving in the right direction is always great. I think it's a really nice way to think of next year, looking into the positive. So, Tony, and thank you for that share. And it is brilliant. I'm glad you brought it back up again, Tonia, because it's something that we've got to do. Tony Ann goes, catchphrase for next year, it's all about me. Tony Ann will begin it.
I love it. I'm an Aries, so I'm right there, Tony Ann. I'm like, it's all about me.
It is. It's a nice one. Look, I think I really like the vibe of we're going to actually sit down and reflect what's really important. And seeing, like, as you said before, Tonia, and Nick said as well, is like, a lot of you guys said on this feed, Avichka and everybody else, was, if you focus on yourself, then you can serve others better. And that's a very nice place to come from. And it's going to be a lot about that. So with that, I can see a lot of moments of bliss, but I can also see a lot of conflict within ourselves as well, where that's going to be a struggle. So it's going to be, as we said before, a bumpy ride. So
and maybe, you know, that's a little reminder for all of us, like from, you know, when we do get 5 minutes, get your journal out and just see what's coming up for you right now. See what connect to, you know, that I say like spirit, and really start to give ourselves those insights so that we can really be prepared, then ready for moving into next year. A lot of power in that. What everything we need is within us. And I say that, you know, even whether it's about people connecting for a reading or a cheerleading session or whatever, for me, it's like, it's all about me just unlocking what's already here. So I do encourage everyone, tap into this and you'll never go wrong. And we all have it. So we just got to remember that.
I like that. I like that.
Yay. So Tonia, thanks for bringing us together again. Thank you, Tonia, for your great shares. We're all feeling inspired now. Yeah.
Yes. Anovich goes, new moon intentions tonight, focus and aim high for your higher purpose. Avichka, she hits the home run. It was like the last play of the day. All the bases were loaded and we needed one thing to smash it out of the ballpark. Avichka's come in with words of wisdom that will take us off into next week. Avichka, thank you for that. Thank you for that, everybody else. Tonia Reeves, always fantastic. I am going to love you and leave you. Let's focus on ourselves, give ourselves a little bit of love this week. We're coming into a crazy time of the year. Take a moment to breathe, as lovely Leslie said, which was a great little bit of advice. And just focus on, maybe, as you said, Tonia, just plant a seed for next year. Doesn't have to be in concrete. Just have a think of where you might want to be. Nice one.
Okay, bye for now. See you all same time, same place next week. Bye.